1:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Catherine Pereira and read by Geethanjali Ramanayaka. The headlines. The President emphasizes that the United Nations Organization and the international community should mediate to safeguard the Buddhist heritage in Afghanistan. He also pointed out that an international mechanism is needed to overcome the indefinite situation in the developing countries. Vaccination for children will begin. The PCR testing facility at the Katnayaka airport was opened. In international news, the UK Prime Minister says that it's time for humanity to grow up on climate change. Local news in detail now. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa says that the United Nations Organization and the international community should mediate to safeguard the Buddhist heritage in Afghanistan. He made these remarks addressing the 76th UN General Assembly. There are large numbers of Buddhist heritage in Afghanistan. The president also pointed out that earlier the current rule under Taliban organization had destroyed the Brahmin Buddhist statues. Several developing countries have been affected economically due to the COVID pandemic. It was also decided to implement the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda. He also reiterated that an international mechanism is needed, including loan facilities and financial assistance to get rid of the indefinite situation. He also explained the measures taken by the Sri Lankan government to protect the people amidst the overcoming of COVID challenges. He also stated that all people who are over 30 years of age have been vaccinated. Sri Lanka will begin vaccinating children aged between 12 and 19 suffering from disabilities or chronic illnesses from tomorrow. Reportedly, the US-manufactured anti-coronavirus vaccine Pfizer will be used for this purpose. The vaccination program is scheduled to kick off from the Lady Ridgeway Children's Hospital in Colombo, according to the Minister of Health Kehelia Rambukwella. Subsequently, the process will be expanded to Kurunegala and Anuradhapura districts, he added, speaking further on the matter. Specialist Dr. Anuruddha Padiniya said that 90% of COVID deaths has been caused due to non-receipt of vaccination. More complications can be caused for the COVID-infected persons who are suffering from non-communicable diseases. The aim of providing vaccines is to minimize the death toll as well as to boost immunity. At present, more than 30 million vaccines have been received by the country. He also pointed out that through the vaccination of children, the spread of coronavirus can be controlled after the commencement of the schools. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. PCR testing facility at the Katnayaka airport was declared open today. Minister Prasanna Rantunga said that the testing will begin from Saturday. Accordingly, the results of the PCR test will be issued within 3 hours of arrival from another country. Opportunities will be made for passengers to travel for their homes without hotel quarantine process. Chairman of the Airport and Aviation Service Institute, Major General G.A. Chandrasiri said more tourist arrivals are expected to the country in the future. At present, nearly 1,000 tourists are arriving daily in the country. The government has paid attention to extend visa permits up to 5 years in order to encourage foreign investors. It is expected to extend the relevant period by the Immigration and Immigration Amendment Draft Bill. International Day of Sign Language falls today. The United Nations General Assembly has declared September 23rd as the International Day of Sign Language. The resolution was initially adopted by consensus during the 48th meeting of the Third Committee of the United Nations General Assembly on November 16, 2017, and officially adopted at the 72nd United Nations General Assembly. And that ends local news.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Vidya Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The European Union has expressed their support to develop organic cultivation in the country. Minister Mahinda Ananda Alutgamage said that Sri Lanka representative of the United Union, Jenny Correa Nunes, has stated that at a discussion held with the representatives of the European Union, the World Bank and the World Food Organization at the Ministry of Agriculture. And that was our main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
And now in Watchlight.
The Ministry of Health says that COVID vaccination program is being conducted in 415 centres in the island. The places of vaccination centres can be obtained through the www.health.gov.lk. The health sector requests the younger generation to obtain their vaccines without believing in false information regarding the vaccines. And that came to you in Watchlight.
World News.
The headlines. The UK Prime Minister says that it's time for humanity to grow up on climate change. US approves COVID booster jabs for some older and at-risk Americans. Taliban unlikely to participate in UN General Assembly session. World news in detail now. It is time for humanity to grow up on climate change, Boris Johnson has said in a speech to the United Nations in New York. The world is approaching a critical turning point, and countries must finally take responsibility for the destruction we are inflicting on the planet and ourselves, he said. His speech comes ahead of the COP26 climate summit in the Glasgow in November. The PM has used his US visit to push leaders for action on climate change. Some 100 world leaders are expected to attend the meeting at the UN General Assembly. U.S. drug regulators have approved Pfizer booster vaccines for people over 65 if they had their last shot at least 6 months ago. The Food and Drug Administration, FDA, has also authorized adults at high risk of severe illness and who work in frontline jobs to get the booster jab. It means tens of millions of Americans are now eligible for their third shot. However, the boosters still need approval from the Center for Disease Control, or CDC, and Prevention. Independent panels from the CDC are holding meetings on Wednesday and Thursday and are expected to endorse the move quickly, U.S. media reports. Diplomatic sources said that Afghanistan's new Taliban rulers are unlikely to speak at or represent their country in the current session of the UN General Assembly. Representatives of the previous Afghan government still occupy the Afghan mission at the United Nations. On Tuesday, they attended the session that the US President Joe Biden addressed. They will continue to occupy the mission until the Credentials Committee takes a decision, a diplomatic source said. On September 15th, UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres received a letter from the currently accredited Afghan ambassador Ghulam Isaksai stating that he and other members of his team will represent Afghanistan in the UNGA session. Back to the headlines of the world news. The UK Prime Minister says that it's time for humanity to grow up on climate change. US approves COVID booster jabs for some older and at-risk Americans. Taliban unlikely to participate in UN General Assembly session. And with that, we end world news and on to development news. A plan has been prepared to develop the Galle port under the collaboration of the state and private sector. $175 million is to be spent for the project. The aim of this move is to develop the Galle port as a commercial port targeting the tourism sector. And that was development news.
Sports news.
In sports news, newly appointed Afghanistan cricket chairman Azizullah Fazli said yesterday that he would visit Pakistan later this week to invite the side for a one-day series. The war-torn nation has steadily risen in international cricket over the past few years with stars such as the world's top spinner Rashid Khan, but there have been calls for boycott of the men's team after the Taliban's takeover last month. The change of government has called into question the future of Afghanistan's participation in test matches, as under International Cricket Council regulations, nations must also have an active women's team. Head coach Mickey Arthur said that the Sri Lankan players have shown a lot of commitment in the past and are determined to perform well in the ICC T20 World Cup in the United Arab Emirates UAE. Mickey Arthur said he is proud of the attitude and the commitment of the Sri Lankan players as they prepare for the biggest T20 showpiece in the world. And that came to you in sports news.
A safe, easy and versatile app for all your banking needs. NSB Pay for monetary transactions, bill payments, reloads, credit card payments and Lanka QR transactions. A range of facilities with multiple account registrations. Access to your bank needs wherever you are. Download the NSB Pay app from the Play Store or the App Store for free now. For more information, call your nearest NSB branch or 0112 379 379. Conditions apply.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Sri Lanka's merchandise exports in August 2021 recorded an increase of 14.4% to $1,083.56 million as compared to $947.2 million recorded in August 2020. Export Development Board Chairman Suresh Dimel commended the exporters and said it is remarkable to see another month of exports over $1 billion despite the ongoing pandemic. Going forward, we need to add more value to our exports and explore niche markets and diversify our product basket and markets. And that was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
A safe, easy and versatile app for all your banking needs. NSB Pay for monetary transactions, bill payments, reloads, credit card payments and Lanka QR transactions. A range of facilities with multiple account registrations. Access to your bank needs wherever you are.
Economic news, courtesy of...
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
In economic news, Waterwella Plantation Company has come forward to encourage sustainable strategic agricultural development in the country. The Waterwella Dairy Limited Farm, which provides high standard dairy products, has commenced an organic fertilizer production program. And that was economic news.
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Weather report. The Met Department says the showery condition over the southwestern part of the island is likely to enhance during the next few days. Showers or thundershowers will occur at times in the western, Sabaragamuwa, central and northwestern provinces and in the Galle and Mathura districts. Showers or thundershowers will occur at several places elsewhere in the evening or at night. Fairly heavy showers above 50 millimeters can be expected at some places in these areas. And that was the weather report. To end this news broadcast, back to the headlines. The President emphasizes that the United Nations Organization and the international community should mediate to safeguard the Buddhist heritage in Afghanistan. He also pointed out that an international mechanism is needed to overcome the indefinite situation in the developing countries. Vaccination for children will begin. The PCR testing facility at the Katnaika airport was opened. In international news, the UK Prime Minister says that it's time for humanity to grow up on climate change. And with that, we end this news broadcast.